In addition to the job losses, the pandemic has also brought about further losses as business doors shut. The beauty sector is a billion rand industry, over billion rand industry that was closed for months as part of the lockdown. SABC News reporter Kim Daniels is in Port Elizabeth. We cross to her now. Very good afternoon to you, Kim. Talk to us about what you're seeing and what you're hearing from business owners there.
Good morning, or good afternoon rather, and thank you. It is no secret that our economy has been going through a very, very tough time. And this even before the lockdown and before Corona, crossed our borders and entered our shores. We had experienced recession, mass unemployment, ratings downgraded, and a very creeping growth of our GDP. And in the first quarter alone, we looked at, in 2020 that is, we saw an increase of 1% unemployment rate. And that may not seem like a lot, but realistically it translates to about 7.1 million people sitting at home without jobs, that being here in South Africa. And the government, they had created relief tours with the UIF, to bail out some of the businesses that were closed during the lockdown. But still, it was very difficult. In May alone, they paid out 6 billion rand to businesses, taking care of at least 1.5 million workers, giving them salaries, paying them without them actually having to work, to lower the curve and stay safe from the coronavirus. Cumulatively, from the 16th of April till today, they've paid out 23 billion rand, which serviced about 3.5 million workers that are represented by over 300,000, employers. As we know, all sectors, not many rather, were affected by the lockdown. Doors were closed. It was a really tough time. Most hardest hit was the private sector and agriculture. But if you look at smaller sectors, which like the beauty sector, it is a billion rand industry, and hundreds of thousands of people are employed in South Africa. But here to talk to us a bit more is Zachariah Evans, the owner of a hairdressing salon in Uitenhage rather. Just to tell us, Zachariah, how have things been these past few months that your doors have been closed?
It's been extremely difficult and very testing. We were aware of the virus, but I must admit we were caught unawares, honestly. And we had to very quickly adapt to what was happening in the country. When we were told to close down, we were actually expecting it to be just for a few weeks, 3 weeks. At the end, it ended up being 3 months. It was difficult. Many businesses, I've heard, had to close up because they couldn't meet their financial commitments. Their rental couldn't be paid, struggling with staff issues, struggling even to get the government help, because not everyone met all the criteria that was needed for government help. So if it wasn't for support from family members and even clients, I don't know how many of us would have coped with having absolutely no income. But it was a learning curve for us. As a small business, you tend to think, okay, now you're in a comfort zone because you're mostly just worrying about your staff, and it's quite a small business. So you don't need that much money, but this has taught us a lot. We need to be financially ready for something like this to happen in the future.
Speaking about government relief and them helping you while your doors were closed, I'm not aware if you personally applied for these grant and relief benefits, but for those hairdressers and salon beauticians that who did apply for them, do you think it was sufficient enough for them to carry on or be okay with their doors closed?
Very, very little money. I suppose it's sort of food perhaps for the week or so, but it couldn't pay up, couldn't help people pay their rent. There were also, as I'm aware, not many that actually got help from the government because they didn't meet all the criteria. We're still waiting. A lot of people are still waiting for government help.
You guys were officially allowed to open on Monday. This was the first week opening. How have things been? Have clients been calling? Are they booking appointments? How has it been? Are they scared to come out? Are they still scared of Corona?
Mixed reactions. When we heard on Thursday that we were going to be allowed to open, immediately my phone started ringing, messages came through, people congratulating me and making bookings. We actually fully booked for a few weeks surprisingly. I just hope this keeps up and it's not just a new thing. There are a few that's scared of contracting the virus, like older people or perhaps people with underlying health issues. They were upfront with me, and we respect the decision, but we have a lot of protocols in place to try and keep clients and ourselves as safe as possible. There were some clients that actually didn't want to come for fear of exposing us to the risk. So I respect that as well. But business is up and running. We're not looking back. We just have to now work very hard to try and get new ground now.
We say thank you to Zakira Evans, the owner of Raving Hair Wave Designs here in Uitenhage, just highlighting the plight and the struggle that these salon owners went through during the time of lockdown. As we know, Minister Tito Mboweni will be addressing us virtually for our first ever supplementary budget, where he will explain the billions of rands lost by tax revenue. He will also outline and look at reprioritizing expenditure, how government is going to maintain and contain expenses. Basically, the budget is going to look at it's going to be the blueprint of how to survive this economic crisis that we are in at the moment.
Kim Daniels, one of SABC's reporters across the country, giving us an update and an insight, and I look forward to what's going to happen come 3 o'clock. Of course, we'll be broadcasting that budget live here on SABC News.